Councilmember Clayton. Here. Councilmember Kendall.
Here.
Councilmember Werner.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Quinn. Here. Mayor Moore.
Here.
The first item on the agenda, all right, is a review, all right, from the work session on Monday, all right, the 23rd. Just follow up from the city manager's report. All right, we had several issues that came up that we said that we would follow up on. All right, most of them came out of the Sunset Avenue Bridge Committee. All right, the first item was all right, to be in touch with the county regarding the traffic survey, all right, for Asbury Avenue. All right, we've reached out to them, or we're waiting for a response from them, all right, regarding the possibility of them conducting that traffic survey. All right, the second one was,
Can I just say something to that, Tony? And it's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. When we reach out, are we giving people deadlines? So with some sort of expectation that we're going to hear back from them by this time? Not necessarily the study, because you guys are telling me that it takes a long time. But when we're reaching out and saying we want to study and we would expect a response by Friday,
well,
April 3rd.
we've asked for a meeting, all right,
Okay.
to talk about some of the issues.
Okay, I would just send email, well, if you can, I would just send things that give some sort of like, we'll be expecting a response from you quickly, as this is an, a emergent matter. I find that unless I do that, people take their time responding.
In regards to traffic studies, all right, that have already been conducted for the city, the only one we're able to really find, or readily find, is a 2005 survey, all right, for the Springwood Avenue corridor. All right, I understand is that there may be one for First Avenue. All right, I reached out to the former engineer. He doesn't have it. Our engineering department doesn't have it. All right, I will be reaching out to the police department as well to see if they have it. All right, but as of right now, all right, no one seems to have the, all right, the traffic survey. We've reached out to Mayor Siciliano in Ocean Township regarding the left-hand turn, all right, into Colonial Terrace off of Ridge Avenue. All right, we've had some difficulty getting the ordinance, all right, from Ocean Township. All right, the mayor had said is that he would handle that and take care of that for us. All right, there was a question about additional crossing guards. All right, the chief of police has submitted waivers for signature and for approval by the fiscal monitor for 4 additional school crossing guards. In addition to that, from the parking study, I had a meeting with Officer Dello regarding some of the complaints that I had heard, regarding the enforcement, issues. And I'll be following up with him and Deputy Chief Salerno about that. All right, we've also looked into the addition of several more special Class 1 police officers for enforcement. All right, and the waivers have been completed. All right, that's all I have. Any questions about any of the matters from the work session?
Well, Tony, there's one thing I want to add to that. The crossing guard, when did we start using these little structures in the middle of the street? It was one on 4th Avenue, it's a little thing, said slow down. And crossing guard standing over there by the fence, and you had the structure standing out in the middle of the street. Is that supposed to be?
I'm not quite sure where it's at. Are you talking that it's right there at the intersection? It's located right at the intersection? I'll go out tomorrow to look at it. It should be further down, all right, towards the center of the street. It shouldn't be right at the intersection. I'll look into it tomorrow.
I'll drive down.
Anything else from the council?
Yeah, I have, just our time for comments?
Yes.
Okay, I have some things. First, Tony, we had on the schedule, I know it got just just lost in the shuffle, a meeting with like a beach committee with Joe Bonge to talk about some issues, and maybe Garrett. There's a couple things that have come up. One was a request for a second surfing beach from a few people. I've heard it forever. There was an official request put into the city council to be, we have the north end, and then the south end would be the, in front of the casino power plant beach. So I would like to talk to Joe about that. We were at Amy and I were at the senior tower last week, and issues with the dog beach came up again, as well as, I think this is probably the most legitimate. So the seniors who have walkers with wheels or wheelchairs can't get the boardwalk on the most northern end because it was installed incorrectly, is really bumpy. So they have to go down on the street and buy the big trailers that are by the sewage treatment plant, go up that, and then get to the boardwalk that way. But that pathway is fairly narrow, and it's covered with sand. I went down the other day and took pictures, and they can't get to the boardwalk. So either we can get somebody down there to clean that off or something, because they don't have access to the boardwalk there.
Public maintenance, look at that tomorrow.
Yeah, cool, thank you. And then just for the public, Yvonne and I met with the Monmouth County Workforce Investment Board to just talk about how, with Eileen Higgins, the president, and Yolanda Taylor, just to talk about, from the city's perspective, how we can better, I would say, coordinate workforce development efforts in the city. And we're just really in like the information gathering stage, but it's something that we've been working on to try to look at what's going on in the city, how we can coordinate that, how maybe we can find some more funding. So that was, I thought, a productive meeting. And I just wanted to thank, so we've said a couple times that we're in transition, which we absolutely are in transition. And I don't know if there's always, so I wanted to thank Mayor Moore for getting Eric and a couple of our staff. We're looking at a pilot now, and I think it's the first time we've had our tax assessor and some of our financial people look at it. And I think that's really been productive. I also want to thank Amy for being able to organize some money from the Rebuild by Design for a part-time grant writer, and everyone on the council, as well as Tony and Melody, for interviewing the clerk. We're having clerk interviews, and then so those are all the positive things, right? We're moving in the right direction. In a few months, we're going to have a more complete team to move things forward. And Don left, right? Okay, so I'll say it anyway. I just wanted to thank Don Samet, because when I started getting involved in politics, I wasn't always the most popular person in City Hall. And Don was always fair and honest, and I always trusted Don's judgment. And we all know that Don's leaving, and I just want to publicly, I know he's not here, but thank him for his efforts. And I think he been an absolutely asset to the city and will absolutely be missed. So that, unfortunately, is a bit of a step backwards. And the only other thing was, I looked at Facebook briefly before I came here, which was a mistake. So the only thing I want to say is that with the parking issue, there are competing interests in the city, right? And our job is to look at those competing interests and try to determine what is the best solution. And really, I think our job here is the taxpayers first. Taxpayers and residents. But at the same time, there's businesses that are taxpayers as well. And it has been raised, the idea that if the permit parking, for example, what came up today, and the parking is wide-ranging topic, right? But if there's actually a subsidy being paid for people who have those permits, because we're still on transitional aid, it is impossible, as John always says, we cannot reduce our taxes, because the minute we have a surplus, they take away that in our transitional aid. So we need to have the income, and the people who are paying a very, very low rate, some people may argue that the other taxpayers who are not paying for that parking are subsidizing that parking, because we're losing that money, which we could be having and offsetting the taxes. So the only point I want to make is we're trying to consider all perspectives and all of the competing interests, and it's not easy, but nothing's been decided, and we're doing our best.
My turn?
Yep.
Okay. The city has been approached by a company called CGI, and CGI works in cooperation with the United States Conference of Mayors. And what they do is actually go out and produce videos of small cities or large cities, but a city like Asbury Park, and the cities are used to promote tourism, economic development, quality of life. And they have approached us, and we have been chosen, and they are going to do 4 short videos, plus one for the Chamber of Commerce. They will highlight nonprofits in these videos, and it does not cost the city anything. I heard that and I said, doesn't sound right. So I checked with other cities. They've done it in Middletown. They've done it in Maplewood, New Jersey, plus other cities throughout the country. They've been in business for 27 years. They're a reputable organization. And we have agreed to let them come in and film. We, of course, will have input. It will be connected to our website, and we can use it for any kind of representation for the city. My one question is, there is a contract that has to be signed. They will be going out to businesses to ask them if you want to be on the video, and there is a cost to you if you decide the answer is yes. However, it does not matter whether 0 or 50 businesses agree. The cost to the city is 0. But Fred, since there is a contract that has to be signed, do we need a resolution for this?
You should have a resolution authorizing the mayor and municipal clerk to sign the contract. Even though there's no dollar amount associated with it, we want to take a look at the language of what's in there.
Okay, I have the contract, so I'll get them to you right away. The second item I have is, we had our first meeting of the Code Quality of Life Committee, and we have identified so far 4 areas that we're going to concentrate on, and that is, number 1, abandoned houses. The second is we want to do a citywide cleanup, but a one that is comprehensive and that we get everyone involved, the schools, different organizations, the businesses, and residents. Third is a project to get, like Neptune, Ocean Township, trash cans that are all looking the same, that they're large, they can be rolled out, and we want to do a comprehensive plan that might include, and we're hoping that we can get a grant to pay for this, and it would include the city somehow providing, maybe for a small fee to homeowners, I'm not sure yet, the cans. We may be able to cut down the number of trash pickups from twice a week to once a week. All this has to be considered, but there are things that we're looking at. And the last item on our agenda so far are taxi cabs. We understand from people who ride them that some of the conditions of the cabs is deplorable in some instances. And the other problem that we've heard is noise, horn blowing at inappropriate hours. So we want to sit down with the owners of the companies and talk to them about what can be done to make it better. If anyone has any other items that they think we should be addressing, please let me know, and we'd love to work with you. And that's it for me.
Yes. A couple of weeks ago, I brought it to the council attention that we need to send out positive flyers on the last couple of months that we was in office. This will be our 3rd month. And that particular night, I was sitting up here going through some notes, and Amy was talking to John. She was saying, this is my 3rd or 4th meeting. And I'm saying, Amy, I'm saying to myself, Amy, didn't you go to work today? And I'm saying, that's what I call dedication. When you can get up, go to work, come here, 3 or 4, do 3 or 4 meetings, then come to a council meeting. Stuff like that need to be brought out. Then there's John. You know how stressful it is if you ever been to court. He went through that whole 2 or 3 weeks of court, but he never missed a meeting, and he was on the telephone at night, and believe me, that was a lot of work. So that's dedication. Then you look at Amy, always on the phone, always around town, never miss a meeting, always updated. So that's dedication. Joe, if you want to know anything that happened in January the 1st, look at his little blue book down there. He got all the notes. These people are very dedicated people. Tom, 6 o'clock in the morning, got here some days, had stacks of paper that high, then he stayed there, come to the meeting, then he said he was going home to do some more work. Fred, never late, always on, no, I'm sorry, you was late today. But, yeah, I'm saying that if you don't know, you have one dedicated group of people here, and I just call this the dedicated period. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I just have a couple of things. Thanks for all the compliments. I don't know where they come from, but it's greatly appreciated. And serving on this council continues to be a fantastic experience with a bunch of really smart and compassionate and trustworthy people. And we disagree in a really respectful way. I was also going to say something. Well, John and I don't disagree in a respectful way, but we disagree. I disagree with everybody else in a respectful way. The parking report. I was going to also just touch on that briefly. Listen, this was a report we got. And the goal was to inventory spaces. The goal was to have a professional, I'm not a professional on parking. Nobody on the parking committee is a professional on parking. Was to essentially have somebody come in and start offering us some short and long-term solutions to parking. I know that, one of the headlines, and I'm not calling anyone out in any way, shape, or form, used the $1,200 going from $30 to $1,200. These are recommendations. So what the parking committee is going to do is they're going to look at all the recommendations. They're going to, accept them as is, modify them, put them in short or a long-term category, and make those recommendations to the council. Parking is a complicated issue for a number of reasons. Downtown has its own separate issues because there's no parking at nights and on weekends, and we have a major developer that has parking spots for residential tenants that is at least $100 a month, and many residential tenants aren't paying for that, rightfully so, because they're paying for $30 a month for a city permit. $30 a year. So that's its own issue and complicated at that. And then you have the waterfront, which is, you can find parking in the waterfront except Memorial Day to Labor Day, give or take, maybe a couple of weeks before and a couple of weeks after. So they have a separate issue. So it's a complicated process. We're going to take the report. We're going to figure out what we think works best for the city. Nobody on the parking committee, and I think Mike Sedano can attest, is looking to gouge anyone. Nobody's getting kickbacks. It's volunteers who sit there from 5:30 to 9, taking in residents' concerns on parking, reading a 150-page report 3 times. I think we're on our 3rd draft, the one they finally presented. So I just want their recommendations. We're going to take them, we're going to modify them, we're going to work with them, we're going to get public input, which I appreciate on them, but nothing is set by those recommendations. But keeping in mind that we have a parking problem, and that parking problem is different in different parts of the city. Just keeping that in the back of your mind. That's it.
Couple quick things. Don did leave. We thanked him Monday night, but again, I agree with Joe. Big loss, but a great person. He was one of the reasons we're a little bit late starting tonight. Believe me, we're going to use every ounce of him before he leaves, and he's going to help us with the transition. So I can't thank Don Salmon enough. Just in case anybody wasn't here, Monday, Resolution 2015-139 about the food trucks is withdrawn. It will not be on tonight's meeting, so that is something that's gone away for the time being. I agree with Joe. I get numerous complaints about the dog beach as far as like a lack of enforcement. I know our police are busy doing more important things, but a lot of people take advantage of a dog beach and don't treat it with the respect it's due. One thing, Tony, also have DPW in front of the senior towers on the lot right across the street. There's a hole. Now, I know we called that hole in September because we were doing meet and greets at that building, and they put a cone on that hole. Well, the hole has gotten bigger and deeper where right now you can't see the cone, especially when it snows, so there's there's a cave in there, and they've got to address it. And in the snow, people were going into that hole because they didn't see the cone. There's one other thing, and what it is, we have so many different agendas. Give me 1 second. If not, I'll come up with it later. Oh, I know what it is. All the infrastructure work going on the beachfront. Do we have somebody monitoring that? If not, let's get somebody, because supposedly iStar will pay for it. And are we on target? Are we on date? I don't want to hear it come May 15th. Guess what? Beachfront's going to be shut down for Memorial Day weekend because we're behind schedule. So not looking for an answer tonight, but something we better, it is March 20 whatever, and summer is right around the corner, believe it or not.
No, I'm prepared to answer you tonight.
Okay,
T&M
good.
does have an inspector there that is being paid through the, through the developer.
Okay.
iStar, through their, account. Yes, from what I hear from the engineer, we are, right about on schedule at this point.
Okay, and when we're off schedule, they're going to give you a heads up?
Christine Ballard will let me know.
Okay, fantastic. That's all I have. Thank you.
John, just mention that again Saturday.
Oh, yes, Saturday at 1 o'clock, Asbury Park Homeowners Association, general meeting, and I believe some police representatives are going to be there at 1 o'clock, Langusta Lounge.
Letters from the city manager.
Okay, I have two issues I just want to bring up. All right, I'm going to ask the council this evening to withdraw, Resolution 136. All right, that's for the temporary, use of hiring Gruel, as temporary planners. All right, I have in the resolution, $5,000 a month, not to exceed $45,000 to the end of the year. I met with Ricky Gartz earlier before the meeting, and we have to transfer monies from personnel, into, operations. This is going to be paid for out of, Don Sammett's salary. So money has to be transferred over from personnel into operations. So it's only a temporary matter. So I'm going to ask you to hold on that one. All right, the second...
Is hiring Gruel willing to take this over April 3rd, and they'll be ratified on April 8th?
I'll speak with them tomorrow about it.
Okay.
All right, the second matter is Resolution 137. All right, we've already brought up the issue of the $11,000 donation for the grant writer, all right, from Rebuild by Design. I had also prepared a resolution, all right, for the securing of grant writing services not to exceed $20,000 for the year. All right, we felt is that we probably would need additional monies other than the $11,000. All right, I would ask tonight that we either, table this until the next council meeting, when we can certify the funds with the additional $9,000, the money will be transferred in again from personnel, into operations, or we could modify the resolution down to, $11,000, which would be covered by the donation, from Rebuild by Design.
Is Ricky here?
Yeah, Ricky's in his office.
My
Ricky.
recollection is that I had conversations about, after I got the 11,000, that we, that the city would, if not match it, and that's fine, come up with the 9,000, and I thought Ricky told me that was fine, that wasn't going to be a problem, and he'd have it. So
The money just
I would
has to
only
be
say that I would
transferred
hate
into
to
the
delay
temporary
this.
budget.
Yeah,
Say it again?
I would prefer not to delay it as well.
But the question I'm going to ask Ricky, we're doing a bunch of budget transfers tonight to keep the budget going. And, I mean, it's like $20 million worth of budget transfers, so we can't, like, use 9,000 out of something else and then transfer that back into something next week?
We could transfer something over.
Okay, without holding this up, so that's what, maybe we can, maybe we can't. He's the financial expert, and I want to get his opinion. Where's he at?
Fred just went to get it.
Oh, okay. And stuff like this, then, like, when you guys have agenda meetings, you guys got to run this stuff past them, because,
Is Ricky coming, Fred?
I mean, why even send it to us if we can't do it? even the hire and gruel one, I mean, can we go 1 month and then transfer money?
Yeah, I prefer to have them than not, I'd rather have some, and just in case something comes up, we need an opinion on something.
You're going to need a planner.
Right. I'd rather not have a window where we're without a planner.
Good evening. Let me try to summarize the questions. We understand we have two problems where we're asking to put money in the budget and spend money, but the money hasn't been transferred in yet. Correct. Be it the $9,000 for a grant writer and the $5,000 for temporary Don Samus job.
Well, it'd be more than 5,000.
Oh, 1 month. 1 month is 5,000. Tonight, we're moving X millions of dollars over. Can't we just take it out of one of those other line items, or is that illegal? And just buy 2 weeks so we have people in place, and then we clean up the paperwork at the April 8th meeting?
It's not illegal. I can amend the temporary that's in front of you if that's what you would like.
Yes.
No problem.
Okay, I think,
For both
For
accounts.
the grant writing and the hire and gruel.
Yes.
okay, if you could do that, I think we would feel more comfortable.
Okay.
Okay,
So you want me to add $9,000 for a grant writer, so we have 20 available.
correct.
And how much on the higher gruel? You just want 1 month at a time here? Because
Well,
Why not do three?
it was originally 9.
Correct.
Which I thought was way overkill. If we don't have somebody in 3 months, we're going to be in trouble. So I'm going to leave that up to you. Do you feel comfortable? I mean, I don't want to break any financial laws. If we can do 3 months, do 3 months.
I could do 3 months. If
I
we
say
don't
do
use
3
it,
months.
Okay.
it'll just remain there.
Okay.
Because we don't want 9 months without a planner.
No.
This is a stopgap.
No, we're
Right,
hoping
yeah,
This will
to
give
have
us a
somebody.
time frame that can to
Fill
get it going.
in between. Okay, if you can do that, deeply appreciate it.
So we're going to vote on these then, Tony?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll go and do the amendment to that resolution right now and bring it back up for you.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you, Rick.
Sure.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Matters from the city attorney?
Yes, first, I just wanted to let the public know that the council is going to be holding a special executive session meeting on Tuesday, March 31st, for interviews of certain candidates for the city clerk position. There will be an open public comment period at the very beginning of the meeting. However, council will then shortly thereafter adjourn into executive session to conduct interviews. At the conclusion of the interviews, there will be no formal action taken at that meeting. There may be formal action taken at one of our regular meetings to follow. Also, for council's information, you may have seen that resolution number 2015-133, which is to extend the duration of the temporary city code, originally was drafted with a 30-day period of time. After consultation with my colleagues on that subcommittee, Deputy Mayor Quinn and Pamela Lamberton, we determined to request a 60-day extension, which we feel will give us enough time to wrap everything up. So the modified version is before you for consideration later.
That's it? Since we're running a little bit late, if anybody has,
Well, I just asked more. We're pulling 138, the pickup trucks, right? The
Well-
4 pickup trucks?
we're either going to pull or else when it
It's
comes.
been removed. The most updated version of the agenda has that removed.
Oh, okay, sorry. Then I'm on my.
I still have the old
Oh,
one.
it's still on there.
I was- yeah,
The agenda we have doesn't have it removed.
We can't get 2 or 3 agendas the night of the meeting. That's another thing we talked about earlier as far as like we have to address some housekeeping. I'm still working off the old one too, and all I was going to do when we got there is make a motion to table. So I didn't even know it was withdrawn.
It's on.
If we can't
It's
get,
not withdrawn.
I'm going to say, if we can't get something by noon the day of the meeting, don't give it to me. Because I can't come here at 6 o'clock and read something and be prepared. So we're either going to table it or vote no on it. And I'm open for discussion down the road. So if nobody has any problems, everybody okay, we go right to the regular meeting since we're running late? Melody?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.